Everybody, Gavin Newsom here, and I'm grateful for those of you who took the time to participate in this Facebook Live exchange and interaction, talking about Proposition 63 and Proposition 64, two of the 17 initiatives that are going to appear on this November's ballot in California. Both controversial issues, and to some degree. Prop 63, Safety for All, is probably the most significant and comprehensive gun safety measure ever put in front of the voters in California history. And of course, Proposition 64 would allow California to become the fifth state, if you include District of Columbia, the sixth jurisdiction to legalize marijuana. As you know, currently Colorado, Oregon, Alaska, and Washington and DC, the District of Columbia, have already legalized marijuana for adult use. California has the opportunity to do the same this November. We've already got a number of you to submit some questions. I've got some friends here that are basically going over some of those questions, and I want to make sure that you add to the conversation in real time. So please do submit your questions, and I'll try to go through as many as I possibly can in the time we have allotted. Thanks again, everybody, for taking the time.
First question. Do you really think Proposition 63 will do anything to save lives, and why?
So, yeah, I mean, look, gun safety initiatives have traditionally been very successful in California at producing real results. Let me back up. You know, in 1993, California had a gun murder rate of literally over 5,300 individuals. It was one of the highest gun murder rates in the United States of America. Over the last 20 years, from 1993 to 2003, we've seen a 56% reduction in the gun murder rate. Even though our population's grown by over 7 million people, that's a rate of decline that's twice the national average. And it's to no small degree because of our aggressive gun safety laws that really have their origins back in 1993, 1994, 1995. As some of you may know, California has the first, well, not the first, but it was one of the first to put together a comprehensive background check system a quarter century ago. We already have an assault weapons ban. We deny roughly 12 people a day that may have been convicted of felonies or dangerously mentally ill the ability to purchase a weapon on an average day in California because of the background check system. But there are gaps in terms of gun safety in California. And what the Safety for All initiative hopes to do is to close those gaps and then to raise the bar and begin to treat ammunition the same way we do guns. It's an interesting fact. Again, in California, you have to have a gun background check, but you don't have to do the same for ammunition. So let me give you an example. You have to go to a licensed dealer. You've got to get a background check to purchase a weapon. But right now, you can go anywhere to get ammunition. There's no licensing requirements whatsoever to get ammunition. You can technically get them at a daycare center, a child care center. You can get them at your local bar, restaurant, hotel, any retailer. Your local Starbucks conceivably can sell ammunition without any background check. Try to, by the way, get Sudafed. You have to have an ID. There's some tracking system. We would begin to treat ammunition exactly the same way we do guns and require a background check. That's just one of the 6 provisions in the Safety for All Act that we think, yes, will save lives, will reduce the gun murder rate, will reduce gun violence in California. And I'm just one of those people that believe success leaves clues, meaning once California moves to raise the bar in terms of gun safety, we'll have raised the bar of consciousness for the rest of the country. And inevitably, I'm convinced, and I know my opponents are as well, that's why they're so intense in their opposition, that once California goes, the likelihood that other states will follow increases substantially, significantly.
Next question. Why do you have no respect for the Second Amendment or the Bill of Rights?
Well, you can see we didn't filter these questions. I have absolute respect for the Second Amendment. In fact, I subscribe to the Second Amendment. There's nothing, I think, about what we're doing that infringes upon your right to bear arms. Quite the contrary. I don't think having a background check on your gun infringes on the right to bear arms unless you're a felon, unless you're dangerously mentally ill, unless you're committed certain violent misdemeanors. I don't think that's an infringement. I think that's an appropriate response to common sense. And I think it was Scalia himself, right, in the Heller decision, who said the Second Amendment's not unlimited. So by definition, this is putting some parameters on that, and extending the same narrative to ammunition seems hardly a great assault or an infringement. Let me just pause on that for a second and reflect on this interesting fact. I was talking to someone the other day. I said, guns don't kill people. And this person said, what are you talking about? Guns kill people. And they said, oh, you mean people kill people. And I said, no, you're missing the whole point. A gun in and of itself has never killed anyone unless used as a blunt instrument. It's a gun and ammunition that's deadly. Again, you can have an illegal gun, you can be in possession of a stolen gun, and then go to your local, I don't mean to indict Big Five Sporting Goods, but in my town, you go to Big Five Sporting Goods and you can get unlimited rounds of ammunition without any vetting. You can do the same at Walmart. It seems rather preposterous if you can't own a gun that somehow you can go out and buy unlimited rounds of ammunition to use in your stolen or illegal gun. And that's not an infringement on your Second Amendment. I think other provisions in our initiative, sharing data between the state background check system and the federal system, data sharing, it's not an infringement on your Second Amendment. Fixing Prop 47, which seems to me law enforcement was overwhelmingly supportive of, and a lot of folks in the gun safety world also agree with a lot of folks in the gun manufacturing world that if you have an illegal weapon that's value is less than $950, currently it's just a misdemeanor. We would say under Safety for All that if you have possession of that weapon, it would no longer be a misdemeanor, it would go back to its felony status. That doesn't seem an infringement on your Second Amendment, nor does reporting your gun as lost or stolen. 11 states require that if your gun is lost and stolen, you report it to law enforcement. Not an assault on your Second Amendment. So it leaves two other provisions in Safety for All that would then, I think, survive the scrutiny of the question, and that is large capacity magazine clip ban. The one thing that's a common denominator in most of these mass shootings are large capacity magazine clips, 11 plus bullets or more. By the way, it's banned in San Francisco already, it's banned in Oakland already, it's banned in Los Angeles already, in Sunnyvale. It's been upheld by the federal courts as constitutional. And interestingly, of all the 6 provisions in Safety for All, this is the one the governor acted on with the legislature. So it's already enshrined in California law. It will be certainly enshrined by the will of the voters. We'll reinforce it if Safety for All passes. By the way, you can't sell or manufacture large capacity magazines already. And now banning their possession would again extend what has already happened in those 4 cities and with the governor's pen. The only other one is relinquishment. And this seems to me the one thing that the NRA and the guns manufacturing lobby should be supportive of most, and that is existing law, implementing existing law. If you're convicted of a felony, if you are not allowed to own a weapon, we should have a process and protocol to have that weapon relinquished. In California, we don't have that. We have not implemented any comprehensive relinquishment process. If Safety for All passes, we will have a comprehensive relinquishment process at adjudication, pre-sentencing, which will get weapons out of the hands of dangerous criminals. That's enforcing existing law. Again, hardly an assault on the Second Amendment. So, hate to be so comprehensive, but that's the entire package. And so it just falls flat, with all due respect, the language of the suggestion, at least the question, and the language behind the question, that somehow Safety for All is an infringement upon your Second Amendment rights. With respect, it's not.
Last question on Proposition 63. Was there a specific moment in time or event that led you to take on the NRA and introduce Prop 63?
Well, I've been at gun safety issue for many, many years, and not only as a supervisor when I was a supervisor in San Francisco, supporting gun safety measures, but as mayor working with then District Attorney Kamala Harris, who's likely to be your next U.S. Senator out of California. We passed a series of gun safety laws, working in partnership with the Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, which is the same group that we worked in partnership with to draft the Safety for All Act. So I've been at this for years and years and years. But I say this quite sincerely, I just had enough. I mean, I thought after Newtown, this country would get its act together. I thought we'd close that quote-unquote gun show loophole, which is really a private transactions loophole more than anything else, and we couldn't even get that done. Democrats, not just Republicans, scared of the quote-unquote gun lobby, which I'm not. I've had, frankly, enough of their rhetoric and their bullying and their scare tactics, and we want to call them out. And we want to call the question, what's so offensive about a comprehensive background check? Why is it inappropriate to ask someone to do a quick check to make sure they're not a felon before they get something that can kill, not just individual, but many individuals? And we extend that same narrative to ammunition. Anyway, I don't mean to be righteous about it, but the fundamental point I'm trying to make is not only I've been at it for a long time, but I'm also a parent. And I've got 4 young kids, and it wasn't just the Newtown incident, but that certainly brought it home as a parent. But it's all these other incidents that have occurred. But it's also the incidents we don't ever hear about or read about. I know we tend to focus on Oregon or Orlando or San Bernardino here in California and these higher profile tragedies. By the way, all 3 of those have occurred since we began the process of placing Safety for All on the ballot. But what about the thousands of lives that have been taken that have been completely normalized in our society, that don't get any attention whatsoever? All those lives completely destroyed because of gun violence. They may not have lost their life, but people can't move, they can't walk, they can't breathe like they could. Their entire life's goals and dreams destroyed because of gun violence. Those are the folks who are out there trying to protect and save now, and I think Safety for All is going to do that. I really do. Taking guns out of the hands of dangerous people is a good public policy. Treating ammunition like we do guns, I think, is good public policy. And it's time to raise the bar, and it's time to push back on the arbiters of the status quo and their scare tactics and their stale rhetoric. And that's what we're doing, and that's what the voters have a chance to do this November. I encourage you, all of you, to take a good look at Prop 63 and send a message to the National Rifle Association. We've had enough, and we're not waiting around for Congress to solve this. It's going to be a bottom-up strategy, state by state, community by community, and we're going to turn this carnage around, and we're going to take this country back from the hands of people that are profiting from the status quo.
For you to at least consider the fact that violating our rights as people or citizens of the United States and violating our Second Amendment rights is just something that goes against the oath that we take every year on this floor when we swear to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The Constitution, our God-given rights, a piece of parchment paper that our founding fathers put in place, and they exercised that piece of parchment paper to say that they trust its citizenry, and they did not want their citizens to be disarmed. They knew that one day government would try to overthrow its citizens, and they put this piece of paper in place to give us God-given rights under the Second Amendment so that we would have the right to defend ourselves predominantly against government. And the only reason government tends to pass legislation to remove those rights from its citizens is because they want to exercise power and control that they were never intended to have under the Second Amendment in the first place when our Constitution was written.